Welcome all to the first track of the building the biomedical landscape track, obviously the most exciting one going on right now within the event, and a quite different one, you'll see, because we're talking about LifeArc, about how we shape our commercial strategy. I will also venture beyond rare diseases with a few examples of very exciting scientific collaboration that we've had with a few partners in the field of Alzheimer's disease, in the field of autoimmune disease. And we'll finish by a talk from Jim Wilson, which will bring us home back to rare disease with the latest progress we've done in trying to bring genomic medicine to patients. So thanks all for being there. I will start by giving you a quick program here. Like I said, stay with us until 12:30. It's going to be very exciting. A lot of very high-quality science talks coming through. So please do ask questions as well. We have 5 minutes of questions at the end of each presentation. This is meant to be interactive, so don't hesitate, don't be shy, and ask any question you have for me and for the different speakers today. So I was quite keen to give you a bit of an idea of LifeArc commercial strategy and basically what is paying for all of this. Because we're quite lucky to be, like Sam said, a self-funded organization, but money doesn't grow on trees, and we really made our success so far, and we want to do more of it so we can be there in the long term and continue to fund the innovation in the field of rare diseases. And we do that through a variety of means, and I will showcase some of the way we go about it and some great examples as well of existing or past collaboration, which could turn one day into very patient impact product and lucrative opportunities as well for LifeArc. I thought I would start with a bit of history, and we all here primarily thanks to Keytruda. So thank you, MSD, for doing such a great job with pembrolizumab. But LifeArc started basically in the mid-80s. We used to be the tech transfer office of the MRC. So the MRC was assigning to us IP, and we would go out and find partners, which is why you will see we end up with a collection of programs beyond just rare diseases. We also quickly developed an internal expertise in offering a service of antibody humanization based on the seminal work of Greg Winter, which got a Nobel Prize for his effort in antibodies. And since the late 90s, we've been offering that as a service to anyone wanting to work with us. And one day in 2007, Dutch company Organon knocked at the door for us to give them a hand humanizing an antibody of an unknown class back then called PD-1. And lo and behold, we spent a bit of time working with them, developed what became pembrolizumab. The sequence we handed over to Organon is the same that goes into a couple of million patients and counting now with Keytruda. They launched it in 2014, and it became the success that we all know, helping so many patients around the world with cancer and also bringing revenue for LifeArc. Because for our efforts, we negotiated a couple of percentage point of royalties. And we did monetize a chunk of that stream in 2 instances in 2016 and 2019 for $1.4 billion. That's the point where LifeArc cut the links with the MRC and restarted as a non-for-profit, self-funded organization. We didn't just help Keytruda. Before Keytruda, 3 other programs came to the market, humanized by LifeArc: Entyvio, Actemra, Tysabri. And after Keytruda, the latest to reach market is Leqembi, which is also progressively helping more and more patients with Alzheimer's. So we've humanized 98 antibodies since we started our work with a very high success rate, and 5 of them went all the way to the market. So that's basically has been our revenue engine so far for LifeArc. But of course, we don't want to put all of our eggs in one basket and royalty come to an end. That's why we've been thinking more and more about how to diversify our revenue so we can keep on reinvesting that revenue into furthering our charitable purpose and helping patients with rare diseases. So we set up 2 teams first. We have an in-house investment team that manage the cash on the balance sheet, basically. We have our venture team that Claire Terlo is leading. You've seen Claire just earlier with Reed on the stage, investing in promising biotech around the world. And then my team is trying to see how we can maximize the value of the other assets that LifeArc has. And it's 3 main categories of assets that we can play with. First, we have all of our internal programs that came from our own R&D. So as you may know, we have a very deep expertise in antibodies, but also in other platforms. We have labs in Stevenage, North London, which keep on churning IP and innovation. Those programs, LifeArc don't take them all the way to approval. We need to partner them at some point. And every partnership, which is done for impact primarily, also brings revenue opportunities every time. There's also programs that were assigned to us, like by the MRC from back in the days. That's why we have a mix of programs spanning rare and non-rare that we're still looking to optimize and to crystallize into therapies that will bring both impact for patients and revenue for LifeArc. Our second bucket is all the programs that we fund. So when we provide grant funding, the recipient usually creates IP, and LifeArc has often commercial right to the exploitation of that IP, and I will tell you a bit more about that later on. Of course, those programs, because they are issued from our grant funding, are squarely aligned with our mission, so it's all rare disease and global health infections, the two areas in which LifeArc operates. And then we still obviously have a very active and successful MAB service, still doing humanization, and have branched out now as well into discovery of antibodies that we offer in a completely disease-agnostic way, oncology, cancer, autoimmune disease. We just work with the best science and the program which have the most chance to deliver impact for patients. Telling you a bit more about our internal programs. So we have the capability to invest into developing them up to a point. So we're not fully integrated. We focus really on early discovery, early translation, but we can invest in program in-house, be them for rare disease or be them for non-rare disease, with a view to maximize the chance of making them partnerable, either via a direct license to the industry or via a spin-out avenue, and we try to put them into new companies that we create alongside VCs. And more, we want to be a partner to those programs after they've been spun out or licensed, and provide service, which could be BD service, R&D service, to again enhance the data package and maximize the chance for those programs to deliver patient impact and revenue for LifeArc. A couple of examples of past successful collaborations. So the first one you hear a lot more about from Sean in a few minutes. It's the deal we've done with Sinomab, where we licensed out our anti-IL-17 receptor B antibody, which was discovered actually at the MRC by Andrew Mackenzie, licensed it to LifeArc to tech transfer on their behalf. We humanized it as well. It's been a great collaboration with Sinomab. We've been doing a terrific job at developing the asset further with fantastic data in atopic dermatitis that Sean will take you through later in the morning. Another example I'm quite proud of is what we've done with Neurolive Bioscience. So here we spun out a pain asset targeting GALR2 with the VC NLC Venture Health based in the Netherlands. It's a very interesting approach to treat pain. It's really novel, unique, and we are currently actually helping them develop the data package a bit further to again support their fundraising efforts and ultimately their partnering potential for the program. By the way, any program of interest, you'll see my detail at the end. Please reach out if you're an investor, a pharma partner. Those programs sometimes are still looking for another partner, so by all means do manifest your interest, and I'll be very happy to make introductions to those teams in particular. That's a snapshot of the so-called internal program we have. As you can see, I'm not going to go through them all in detail. It's spanning a variety of indications. It's diagnostics, it's therapeutics, it's MAB, it's gene therapy, small molecule. We've partnered a few of them successfully. I mentioned Sinomab and Neurolive. We also partnered with Chiesi in IPF, partnered with Medicus, with Teverelix in prostate cancer. And we have a few active partnering plans ongoing for some of those. And you will see soon on our website a bit more detail about those. And we have an ongoing outreach to a variety of pharma and VC partners to try to see how to maximize opportunities and value creation with those assets. And a bit more than those, this is just the cream of the crop, but we keep on increasing our pipeline by investing in research and finding ways to bring the asset forward. Moving on to our, one example I wanted to showcase in particular, and we also have a lot more to say about that program a bit later on. One of our most promising assets is a very exciting Alzheimer program that started with Thomas Bayer over here at Göttingen University. who discovered a new epitope in oligomers for beta-amyloid. Very promising approach. We humanized it with Thomas. We developed it a bit further. We developed a vaccine candidate by finding out the epitope conformation and designing a peptide that elicits the same immune response, more or less, as what the antibody provides. So it's a very appealing, innovative approach. Beta-amyloid is back in the game as a promising theory to go after Alzheimer. And we're actively working now on bringing that program to the next step in partnership with a few players. So watch this space. There's announcement coming soon, but it's a very, very exciting program for LifeArc that we love to work with Thomas on this one. And Thomas will tell you more about the science of it in a session coming in later this morning. Moving on to our external program. So here, LifeArc provided grant funding to recipients, which can be academia or industry. We're not particularly bound to funding only academia. Usually, the recipients own the IP that they generate without funding. But now, there's always a commercial exposure to LifeArc. We've changed a bit our tack. It used to be purely philanthropic. But as you know, we're self-funded. There's only so much money that Keytruda can provide us. If we want to be there in the long run, we need to find other ways to bring income in LifeArc. So there's always now some revenue exposure for LifeArc in grants. It's never on the path of translation. It's always backloaded. It's only really if the recipient makes money, we get a cut. So it's really made not to slow down innovation. And there's two ways we go about it. The simplest way is just to pre-specify terms in the grant funding. Royalties, share of proceeds. If the recipient does a deal, we get a cut. Or, and that's a more frequent way to go about it, I hope there's the one from HMRC in the audience, but the other way, that's the more typical way, and others do that as well, not just LifeArc, Welcome and a few others, is to have a clause in the funding agreement called a consent to commercialize, meaning the recipient has to come back to us the day there's a deal on the table, ask our consent for selling the IP, and we give it at that point in exchange of a share of revenue. Sounds a bit convoluted. The reason why we do it is if you do it this way, the grant is not subject to VAT. Sometimes you can recover it, and then you don't really care. Sometimes you don't. And then, yeah, there's 20% going to the coffer of the Treasury, which is not really our mission as a charity to support. So that's why we often use that clause, but ultimately it converts into a share of revenue with LifeArc. And like for the internal programs, more and more we're moving to be not just a funder, but having a funding plus mentality, which means providing support to the recipient of our funding, R&D support and advice, BD support to again help the recipient bring the asset on its journey all the way to translation, all the way to patient, all the way to approval, so that the impact is maximized. A couple of examples. Again, there's one I'm really close to my heart. You will hear more about it this later in the afternoon, and Sam mentioned it, is what we've been doing with Manchester University, helping them get their program for MPS II unstuck, a very, very exciting autologous ex vivo HSC gene therapy program with some very promising early data. And yeah, we're very proud to be able to work with Rob Wynn and get that program back on track and delivering amazing impact for patients. Another one which we also were very pleased to announce, I mean, we created the See Further consortium with Cancer Research Horizon and Ghost Charity last year, and announced the first two laureates of the scheme, and we funded two teams. One of them is a team led by Ming Therapeutics with a very interesting cell therapy approach, combining the destruction power of NK cells and the recognition power of T cells being developed for a variety of rare, very severe childhood cancers that they put in preclinical models in collaboration with Southampton University. So we're very pleased about that one being the second See Further program, and there's more to come to make a difference for patients with or children with rare cancers. And that's again a snapshot of some other similar program currently owned by our partner, funded by LifeArc, that we're trying to find ways to support through translation. As you can see, it's also spanning diagnostic, there's gene therapy, the cell therapy. So it's often quite innovative because, like Sam said this morning, most of the diseases are genetic, and that's why those modalities are very well suited to provide, hopefully, a cure for those conditions. The last pillar of our commercial engine, and I won't dwell too much on it because Preeti is going to come on stage and give you the full detail of our offering in the field of antibody discovery and humanization, is that service that started back in the days in the mid-80s and brought us Keytruda and a few others. Still very active. We have a very rich pipeline of opportunities that we're evaluating. A recent deal we've announced was with Lego Bio. So Richard is going to come on stage and tell you more about their fantastic membrane protein degradation technology. So we're working with Lego using their technology and our antibody discovery service to create candidates for Lego, and Richard will tell you more about it shortly in the morning. We have a fantastic collaboration with Kisoji, developing one of the only naked TROP2 antibody against a variety of cancers. Very exciting when most TROP2 approach are ADCs, but they found an epitope for which TROP2 naked does work, and it should be in the clinic very soon now. Touching wood, they're working with CRUK in bringing that program forward, so it's a very exciting program here. And we have quite a deep pipeline of those antibodies that have been humanized by LifeArc with a couple of discovery collaboration ongoing. I mentioned Lego. There's one as well with Bern University in Switzerland, announced last year. And you can find the first 5 programs that we humanized who came to the market. A few other in the clinic with a variety of large pharma sometimes. So yeah, it's a very much still a pillar of LifeArc revenue engine and a service that we're keen to offer to the best program, the most promising science we can find in the UK and beyond. So that was a quick tour, really, of the different ways we have to keep the light on for LifeArc and keep on bringing revenue to reinvest in our mission. And I hope to give you a good idea of what we're here for and what we can do. Not always in rare diseases, but we do have other opportunities. And like I said, please come to me if any of the program I've mentioned elicits interest. If you want to know more about it, I will be delighted to make introduction and tell you more about those programs, because they're all important. We all work on very exciting science. So it's a village to take program to approval. So VCs, pharma in the audience, please come to us, and we'll be delighted to tell you more about what we do. Thank you.